I'm running out of room here in the shop, and I need to find a better way to organize my tools. I'm sure that many of you can relate to an air tool drawer like this. Because of lack of other options, I think that this is going to be the best place for our air tool rack. We don't have a whole bunch of wall space to do this, so we'll end up having some drawer slides where this is going to slide out here. We'll have to push this toolbox over and take these two handles off. We'll mount it over to this face. We got these monster drawer slides in from Amazon. I think this is what we're going to end up using. These have big old ball bearings in them. These little rubber stops so the drawer doesn't slam. Just got a lot of good rolling motion. I think that'll be holding enough weight for what we need. We're going to cut our 20-foot sticks of 1-inch steel on a horizontal bandsaw. With only a couple inches of drop, I made for a cool video here of the blade breaking through the top face. All of these pieces that we're cutting will be mitered at a 45-degree angle. But it's so difficult to get the bandsaw to set back straight once we've put that 45-degree set up device to cut that. So we'll just bring those over to the vertical bandsaw and cut through those miters pretty quick. You can see that the blade walks back quite a bit here. That's because we don't have a lower blade guide on the saw, and that's going to be for another build for another day down the road. I'd like to do a few more things on this vertical bandsaw. It's just a 14-inch Delta style bandsaw, and we slowed it down. It was a wood cutting saw, so got a couple cool shots that we can put up of that deal and some things that we need to fix on it. Once we're done mitering all those pieces, we'll bring them over to the 12-inch disc sander and we'll deburr all the pieces. Also, we'd like to do another video of building a 20-inch disc sander, so stay tuned for that. After we clean up all these pieces in the disc sander, we're ready to get to welding. Now we'll go through and we'll tack all the mitered pieces together. It's kind of hard to see in this shot. You can see me pick it up there. It's a small square, and I'm using that to make sure that all these pieces are at a 90-degree angle or a right angle with each other. Once the pieces are all tacked top and bottom, we'll weld all the outside corners first. This typically helps for the pieces not want to pull as much when they're being welded. Now if you welded the top or the bottom first, the thing would want to twist on you a lot, so when you weld the outside corners it can't really pull as hard. And as far as the setup goes, the welder's set at 185 amps, and for this 1-inch 083 mild steel that I'm welding here, I'm only probably using about 125 amps at the highest peak. So I'm not using the whole 185 amps, but I think it's good practice with foot control, with the pedal control, to have a higher amperage and not be flooring the pedal every time you're welding. I do a pulse type weld with rocking the pedal back and forth, and as far as the setup goes, I'm using 1/16 ER70S2 filler rod, and for the TIG torch, it's a Speedway SW320 water-cooled torch. I'm running a number 8 cup with a standard gas lens. I'm using 3/32 red 2% thoriated tungsten ground to a point. Now that we have the frame for the air tool rack done, we threw a coat of paint on it and went inside to drop our files in SolidWorks. We're going to get .080 aluminum water jetted with slots to slide the air tools into, and some cubby dividers for all of our grinding consumables. Once we're done drawing those up, we sent them over to the Waterjet and swung by to see the process. We got the drawer sides mounted up on the pallet racking here, and we got the cross beams welded in the air tool rack that are going to hold the slotted pieces that are going to hold the air tools. We got those water jetted and showed a clip there of that. So we're going to bring those pieces over to the sheet metal brake now, put some bends in them, and mount them up on the air tool rack. We have an older 10-foot heavy-duty sheet metal brake that we'll bend these slotted parts with. The first part gets a slight bend to keep the air tools from falling out, and the second part gets a 90-degree bend to mount to the frame. We'll run over to the stomp shear and shear up a piece for the main cubby rail, and then bring it back to the sheet metal brake and put some bends in it. When we're done with that, we'll bring it back in the shop and clean it all up with acetone before welding. Unfortunately, the film monster snagged the rest of the footage of welding the cubby dividers into the cubby rail. You can see the ends being tacked on in the first cubby for the Klingspor 3-inch disc. You can see there at the bottom of the screen the 3 different Klingspor discs that we're going to be putting in, the drum sanders, the 4.5-inch flap wheels, and some cutoff wheels. When we're done with this, we can finally shut off the welder and mount the aluminum pieces into the frame. Our extra boxes of Klingspor discs and DA pads will fit on a shelf at the top. We'll fill the first row with straight die grinders, the second row with 90 and 120 degree die grinders, and the last row with all of our longer tools. We can now throw all of the grinding consumables into the cubby rail. Well, that's about it for this video. I'd like to box the rest of this in, the top, the sides, the back, but I don't have a box pan brake, so that we're going to have to outsource. I'd like to get to powder coating all this stuff, the shelves here, and then everything that we box in. We'll probably do a gray color for that. This rack can hold 8 air tools per shelf. I obviously don't have that many right now, but over time I'll accumulate that. And then I wanted to talk about this lower area here that's open. I'd like to leave that for the option of putting C-clamps or pinch clamps, spring clamps. But I can't really do that until it's all boxed in, and I don't exactly know where I want to put that stuff right now, so that's kind of something that I'll figure out as we keep using this thing. So last but not least, most importantly actually, I'd like to talk about where I got this idea from. Unfortunately, it's not mine. I'd like to say that it was, but I had the opportunity of working for Ryan Linder of X1 Race Cars there for a handful of years, and his shop was organized just incredibly, so I'd like to implement some of his ideas into my own shop here, and this was one of them. He had a fab rack or fab cart, and it had an air tool rack on the back of it, and just organized super well. So that's kind of where I'm at with this. And then I'd like to thank Logan Kloss, my good buddy here, for helping me film this and edit it, and helping me build this thing. So thank you to him, and that's about it for today. So if you like the video and you want to see more builds and stuff like this, please subscribe to the channel, like the video, and until next time.